This is the IR sensor, infrared sensor that we are using. It is having one IR LED and one detector. This is the potentiometer that we can adjust the threshold of the IR sensor. That is the distance, the maximum distance that it has to cover. That means the maximum obstacle distance. This is the VCC pin, output pin and ground pin. It gives only a digital output, that is either 1 or 0. This is the servo motor that we are using as a door controller. So it is having 3 pins. So brown pin is for ground, red is for VCC, and this yellow pin is for signal, that is the servo control signal. And this is the controller, that is Arduino Uno controller that we are using, and this is having 14 digital pins, that is up from 0 to 13, and one ground pin. It is having an analog pins and power supply pins. It is an Atmega microcontroller. This is the fingerprint sensor that we are using, R305 fingerprint sensor. It is controlled voltage of 3.3 volts. This is a processor. And these are the 6 pins that we are using. And first 2 are VCC and ground pins, and next 2 are safe for serial communication, and we are not using the remaining 2 pins. This is the circuit diagram of fingerprint control door lock system. We have to connect the circuit as per the circuit diagram. This is the Arduino that I have connected. Using this as a controller, you can see it clearly here, and I have given power supply through the USB from my laptop. For that, this is the fingerprint sensor, 2 wires. This is a VCC wire and this is ground wire. This is connected to a 3.3 power supply from the Arduino. This is a 3.3 volts power supply, and another one is 5 volts power supply. From the 5 volt power supply, I have connected this IR sensor and a servo motor to control the door. I am using this just a strap of cardboard as a door, just for the prototype purpose, and I have connected 5 volts and ground to the IR sensor and this servo motor. After that, servo motor is connected to pin number 9 here. This is the yellow color line is given to the servo signal, and the 12th pin is connected to the IR sensor, and the ground pin is for IR sensor. Okay, this is all about the connections, and this is the prototype that I am using here. This is the fingerprint sensor code actually, but for that we have to install 2 libraries, as we are using fingerprint sensor which is not included in the Arduino libraries, but we have to download them from libraries that are supporting by Arduino, and we are using servo motor. For that also we have to install a library. That manage libraries. So this is the floating window. Libraries are downloading. Here type fingerprint. We will find some libraries according to that. this is the library that I have installed already. It is Adafruit Fingerprint Sensor Library by Adafruit version 2.0.4. This is what I have installed, and there is an update available, but as for my requirement, the old version is okay for me, so I am not updating this. So now we have to install servo motor libraries. I'm searching for servo. So as my laptop is some i3 version, so it is getting late, and now servo motor installed. The installed library is Michael Morgan's Arduino version 1.1.6 installed. This allows the board to control variety of servo motors. This is what I have installed. This is also having an update, but as per my requirement, the old version is okay. So if you want to control servo motor, and so this library is important, and for fingerprint sensor, the previous library which I have shown is important. And after that, okay, to install, it will, the install option will be visible like this. If you click on install, then the libraries will load into your Arduino. So after that, we have to include libraries in the program that we are using, because these libraries will help us to use some functions which will help us to make easy that communication. So, and now I'm using servo motor and software serial. This is the code which allows you to control the door. Actually, before this, we have to install or include our fingerprints into the Arduino board. So we have to enroll the fingerprints that are to be make authenticated. Like, we have to give chance to we have to validate our fingerprints, and we have to make lock for only make unlock and lock for only for our fingerprints. Then we have to enroll them first, enroll our fingerprints into the Arduino or into the memory, which will stores our data, that is our fingerprint data, and will validate or will verify when the fingerprint sensor is touched, or when persons wants to unlock the door. So for that, as this is a secure, we have to give only few persons to unlock the door. For that, here is the enrollment program that will helps us to enroll the fingerprints into the memory of the Arduino here. So for that, we have example programs. So go to the example programs, and as we have installed the libraries of Adafruit fingerprint sensor library. So this is the library. In this library, click on the enroll. So this program will display, and this program will help us to enroll the fingerprints into the memory of the Arduino. So this is completely program based on only for enrollment and storing of the fingerprints that we have to give to store, and we have to make them authenticated. For that, we have to upload this program to the Arduino. So for that, I have connected Arduino to the COM port, USB port. So for that, I am selecting Arduino AVR boards, that is, I'm using Arduino Uno board. And in the tools, I have connected the Arduino at COM5, so I'm selecting COM5 port. So now I'm uploading the program, complete program. This is the already predefined program. This is coming with the libraries itself, so there is no need of verifying it, so we can directly upload them. So now open the serial monitor, and some text will be random text which states that Adafruit fingerprint sensor enrollment will be displayed. Fingerprint sensor and reading status IED capacity 1000, security level 3 out of 5. It is the device address is completely 8F. Packet length means 128 fingerprint. It can store only 128 fingerprints. That the Arduino memory and text that I have displayed. Please type in the ID from 1 to 127. You want to save this fingerprint as. So now I want to put my finger and I have to store it in the name of some random number from 1 to 127. So for that, so now I am typing some random. So now we have to keep the fingerprint. So image is taken. We have to keep the same fingerprint again. This is taken. So on the name of ID number 2, the fingerprint is saved in the Arduino. So we can give from numbers 1 to 127, like 126, 124, and whatever the number may be, the fingerprint will be saved in the name of the ID number that we have given during the time of enrollment. So I have enrolled my fingerprint into the Arduino. Now I have to control the devices that are connected to the Arduino based on my fingerprint authentication. For that, I am using the program that is completely consists of 164 lines program. In this, I am including the Adafruit Fingerprint Sensors library, that is a Adafruit Fingerprint library, so which will enables us to use the complete set of library functions and inbuilt functions perform tasks with the fingerprint sensors. And now I am using software serial. This is for the serial communication. There is a header file that enables Arduino and the sensors or the devices that are connected to the Arduino to have a serial communication between them. This is the software serial, and it will avails us a keywords like software serial, and for that we can use my serial 2,3, that is the port 2 and 3 will be used as a serial communication port between Arduino and fingerprint sensor. Now we are using another library, that is servo.h, as we are using the door controller as a servo motor. So we are using servo.h. Servo.h it is a library. It is used because we are using servo motor, and it will enables us to do functions with the servo motor within less steps, with very less lines. Like, okay, then in the void setup, I'm beginning the serial communication with the serial monitor of 9600 baud rate, and this simple program is a serial print ln, that is the fingerprint test is printed, and this is the keyword myservo.attach. This is the term they use it to make the servo motor enable the servo motor and to communicate servo motor with Arduino through the pin number 9. I am stating that myservo.sh. My servo, the servo which I am using is stated as servo myservo. That is, this is the I am initializing the servo motor name as myservo. This is the servo motor variable. So myservo is attached at the pin number 9. This is the term used to the servo motor to the Arduino, like pin mode. Just like pin mode, which we are randomly using to digital output and input. Now I am initializing the myservo value, that is myservo 0. This means the servo attached which is the servo which is attached at the pin number 9 will be written with a 0. That means the angle of the servo motor at the initial stage will be 0. With respect to the servo motor will be placed at the 0 while starting the program. So after that, I am giving the pin mode 12 as the input, because I am giving this as input because I am using an IR sensor to communicate the I am using an IR sensor to make some kind of stuff during the person exist from the room. So I'll show you clearly after. So I'm using here a fingerprint begin. So the original program begin here. From here to here, it is completely is a communication between fingerprint sensor and Arduino to initialize. That is, this is a key token program to validate whether the sensor is found or not. Okay, after that there is a while loop. This is the loop. In this while loop we have a get fingerprint ID EZ. This is the function which will enables us to know the data which is given at the fingerprint sensor during the authentication. That means when a person wants to unlock the door, he will keep the sensor, he will keep his fingerprints at the sensor, fingers at the sensor. The the sensor takes the fingerprints and validates. The validation program is get fingerprint IDs ID EZ. This is the validation program, and after that there is some delay, and I have written this IR function program. This is to perform a task, that is when the person wants to exit from the room and he will stands in front of the IR sensor, which creates a disturbance, and then the door automatically opens. And this is why I am written, because as this is a door, when the person from outer person has to enter into the room, he requires an authentication. So he will, if he is the authenticated person, and if the fingerprints of the person are in the Arduino, then there is then he can just simply verify his fingerprints in the sensor, and he can get into. And after that work that he had performed in the room, if he wants to come out again, there is a need of sensor, because as we are using servo motor, which only controls for the signal, enable it manually. So
We can't.
I'm using a IR sensor, as he was a authenticated person, so there is no need of again re-verifying his fingerprints. So I'm using a higher IR sensor just to create a small disturbance which enables the door to open. So here unity 80 get fingerprint IDs. This is the function started here. From here to completely here, this is all about fingerprint image conversion, image taken, image conversion, and image checking with the fingerprints that stored in the Arduino, and if found a match. This is the important thing that we have to keep in the mind. This is the important function. If found, if the match is found, then found ID. What is the ID? That is to be mentioned in the serial monitor, and serial fingerprint dot fingerprint ID. So okay, with a confidence of, that means the person maybe use the same finger which is enrolled in the Arduino memory, but during the image taken of the image, during the process of validation, there may be some disturbances that may occur. So the matching percentage between the fingerprint that is stored and fingerprint that is authenticated during the unlock of the door, it displays the confidence. So this is the program again, and this will, if found a match, int s, if found a match, int s. I have initializing a variable s, which is just for steps. I am using this for steps. That means we are using a servo motor which will open slowly and close slowly in steps of 1 with respect to the 1 degree. So I'm using only 90 degrees to turn the door during the opening and during the closing. So s is equal to 0 in the for loop, and s is less than or equal to 90, and s +1, that is the increment, and my servo writers, that is the step value is written in the my servo variable, which will turns my door in accordance with the angle degree that is given here, with just a little bit delay of 50. Okay, and after that it will after the 1 second delay, the door again closes. This is the for loop that helps to close the door. And after that, this is the complete function that is from the fingerprint sensor and controls the door just to open when the external person enters into the room. After that, if the person wants to come out of the room, he should make some stimulus to for the door to respond. So he is standing in front of the IR sensor to make some disturbance. So here also I am using again an int variable s, just to make the steps count. If the IR sensor, when the IR sensor is called, it will returns the variables. So that means I am using the variable inter. Inter is just nothing but internal, just the person which is the interior of the room, and that is the IR sensor which is connected at the distal pin number 12, which the value at the distal value at the pin number 12 arised is given into the variable inter. So I am validating the inter is equal to 0. That means if there is a disturbance, then I am telling the servo motor to turn 90 degrees. That means to open the door, and again after immediately I am telling the servo motor to close the door with a 1 second delay. Into the Arduino that I have connected at the COM port 5. I have uploaded. Now we can check it with the fingerprint test. I'm waiting for the validate fingerprint. I hadn't given any fingerprint at the fingerprint sensor. Now I am using my finger. So it is found with a ID with a confidence of 147. Then the door is going to open and door is closed. During this gap, the person enters into the room. When the person wants to come out of the room, he just stands in front of the IR sensor and it will give a disturbance and the door will again open. Again the door gets closed. That's it.